Tate, CEO of Franklin Tomorrow, and welcome to our monthly Frank Talks lecture. And thank you to Columbia State for hosting us again. And Dr. Shane Hall is there in the back, and he's new to this campus a little bit, but not new to Williamson County at all. And I know that some of you are going to take a tour of the campus maybe later this week, but also anytime you want to come out and see the campus, they are welcome and willing and ready to show it to you. Lauren Jordan was in the room too before for the social time. She's an enrollment recruiter here and works with the dual enrollment, which is a great program. But it's a great place for us to have. It's a great thing for us to have this campus in our community. It only took Nancy Conway how many years, Nancy? I don't know. Nancy and Ken Moore, how many years to get this happening, along with the late Charles Sargent. Thank you to McDonald's for our coffee. But did y'all see our marketing table out there? And we had these little fans. They looked like fans, but then you can do that, and they fold up nicely. And they're going to be handy for the next month or two as the heat continues a little bit. But be sure and pick one up on the way out. And again, they just fold up really nicely and go in there. And you have that for later. So speaking of Nancy Conway, I'm going to bring her up this morning to do, she has another meeting to do our little Did You Know segment.
Thank you, Mindy. Well, this is Did You Know? And it's the quiz question. And the first person that answers this question correctly will receive a prize. So, Mindy will have to... She will have to have, her eyeballs on straight, but whatever. And we know that we have a fabulous county school system. And Dr. Golden is going to tell us more about that as your speaker. But here is your quiz question. Currently, how many schools are in the county school system?
Oh, no, Barb. No, you can't.
No.
Oh, yeah, Kim can, though. 26. Oh, no. 52? Excellent.
Correct.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. So, Barb, that kind of been like shooting fish in a barrel a little bit for you, Commissioner Barb Sturgeon. We have a lot of members. We have some members of the school board here and some other elected officials. If you're an elected official in Williamson County, one of its cities, one of its boards, please raise your hand so people can see you and say thank you. So great turnout this morning. Everybody get the kids off to school officially today. It's a big day. In the lobby, you can pick up these fans, but also you can see our friends from the Franklin High Band who are working really hard to get to the Rose Bowl parade in January of this year. And we love to be partners with organizations like that. But also from Page High, we have... tell me your name again. Oh, no, look at me. You. Cameron, who works with the Page High Band to integrate those new families into the community and with other groups. And so, Cameron, we're excited to have you here. A lot going on, so we'll get started. We did start a little bit late, and I apologize for that. But thank you to Atmos Energy, who Christina Christensen is here, and they are one of our sustaining supporters, and we appreciate them. And so we have a video from Atmos.
Response really only accounts for about 10% of our day-to-day. A big portion of our day-to-day is the preparedness efforts, and that includes planning, training, exercises. So working with Atmos and all of our other utilities to understand our critical infrastructure, coordinate and plan together to respond to anything, continue to foster those relationships, and improve our overall capabilities before there's an actual event.
Partnerships are key to prevention and even response. So working with Atmos, we've been able to plan open houses together where you are able to come out and spread information about gas safety to our community members, as well as get to meet our firefighters, so that we're on a scene, we know you. It's so much easier to work together in a crisis when you know a face.
We have a great relationship with our first responders. We have a great line of communication from the chief of the whole department to the first year guys and all that. We do community events with them, cook them hamburgers, hot dogs. We just try and have a good relationship with them and keep things going.
I've been fortunate to get to work with Christina and Atmos in planning some educational events through the school system to have them come in and talk to our kids about safety.
About a year ago, we had an excavator hit a gas line in Spring Hill, caught on fire. We had a small evacuation. Atmos and their team responded promptly, and we worked together to mitigate the initial hazard, get residents back in their house, and close out that incident successfully.
Communication is the key to all that. You know, once they make that phone call that they need help, we're there. I actually got a text the other night at 4 o'clock in the morning, hey, we've got a gas leak, can you guys respond? And we was able to get somebody to respond to them and be there in a timely manner and get things taken care of.
It's always a relief when we see Atmos on scene. It is a true partnership. You bring your expertise to protect us, but yet we're there to help protect you too if something goes wrong. So making sure that we're working together is vital to keep the neighborhood safe.
Our relationship with the fire department and first responders inspires trust in us and inspires and trust in them that we're able to be there for each other and help each other out.
Any effective and safe response really comes down to pre-existing relationships, understanding each other's capabilities, and that's how we perform a safe response, not just collectively as first responders, but also to serve our community and get everybody home safe.
Thank you so much for Atmos support. We really appreciate them. And oops, there we go. Reagan Smith is also one of our sustaining partners, and we appreciate their support on a lot of different projects we work on. And Williamson Health is also a sustaining partner. And there's Greg. I didn't see you before. So there's Greg Broy, who's going to give us a little info about this video.
Williamson Health is proud to support the Williamson County Schools, including providing athletic trainers at no charge to the Williamson County high schools all throughout the county. So it's getting ready to be a busy season with football kicking off. So Friday Night Lights will be starting up and our folks will be there on the side as well as our EMS team. We also are very interested in the emotional and mental well-being of our student athletes. And we recently had an event at our Bone and Joint Institute called Connect, Compete, and Care. So we're going to take a look at this video and learn a little bit more.
If you're having problems, let's communicate to that person on the team. Make sure that you let them know, hey, I feel down. I don't know what it is.
We were here for the Connect, Compete, Care event, which we were focused on helping teenage athletes, parents, coaches, athletic directors, really anybody in the teenage athletic sphere of influence, learn about 3 concepts. One is really mental and emotional wellness in the sports world, really emotional resiliency in the sports world, and how to deepen connection on and off the field.
The reality is we all have moments that just push us.
From a young age now, athletes are challenged with greater challenges, I think, than maybe I was dealt with. The added challenges for this generation, I think we need to have added tools and added conversation around these things. And it's something that is so prevalent that we have to get it out there and give people the tools to say, hey, this is just another part of how we can be the best version of ourselves out there. I had the normal challenges of failure and trying to get past those things, but I also had some deeper challenges during my career, a couple times where I felt a deep depression. When I was kind of struggling up and down between the major leagues and the minor leagues.
Every player who plays at the highest level is concerned about their performance, right? And every move they make is videoed and photographed and is on social media immediately. And so there's tremendous pressure of performance.
So many of our athletes find their identity now through their sport.
The physical recovery is so impacted by the mental wellness
of the athlete. The athlete's depressed. They are not going to do well under any circumstances with physical therapy, with recovery. There's been such a stigma with athletes as like, I'm an athlete, I can't, that's a weakness. Mental health is a weakness, but it happens to almost all athletes.
Self-talk is a really, really important thing to learn at a young age. And let me tell you who it starts with, parents.
I believe we're better when we're together. And so a community-based approach where we're able to partner with Williamson Health, partner with Bone and Joint, and have this all presented by Williamson Health Foundation, I think it just shows we have a group commitment and a community commitment to the mental and emotional well-being of the teenage athletic space.
So Renaissance Bank is our presenting partner for Frank Talks, which is held monthly. Our next one in September, we're excited to say we will be at Carnton in the Fleming Center on the second Monday of the month. And it's rare to get to go there, but you also will have a chance to tour the home that day. So we're excited about that. But thanks to Renaissance for all their support. And they have, as he said, Friday Night Lights isn't that far away, but neither is college football. And they always bring us the SEC shorts, and so we're excited to see that today. Diane LeBlanc has a few words before that.
Good morning. And as Mindy said, it's right around the corner. We're kicking off, of course, today with a kickoff to schools in Williamson County. So since the Nashville soccer team had such a bad weekend, we're going to talk about something that the Renaissance Bank does just as a fun side note of videos. Please come see us at our Carruthers office, 9135, or at 815 Columbia Avenue. Looks like I've got a little fencing around my office, but please know we are open and available to help you all. So thanks, Mindy.
Hangs in the pocket, looking, still looking. It's going to heave it up deep for the end zone, and it's caught! It's caught! Touchdown!
Oh, I can't believe this! What an end! College football, there's nothing better! Immature students battling it out on the gridiron for nothing but school pride and a free sociology degree. So simple, so pure. Hear, hear.
Who are you? Hello there! My name is Randy Griggs. I'm the assistant AD in charge of athletic advancement for the University of Georgia Bulldogs. And I come to you from the future!
The future?
Yes, the year 2025 to be exact.
But why have you come here, time traveler? To cure a disease? To warn us of an impending disaster?
It's something much more important than all of those things. I'm here to ask you to donate to our NIL collective. We've asked our current alumni for money so many times they finally told us to kick rocks. So we invented time travel so we could go back in time and ask those same alumni for money at different points in their lives.
What?
Let's see here. Harold Godwin?
Oh, that's me!
Says here you donated $2,000 at the 2024 Bucks for Bulldogs campaign. So what do you say we just put you down for that same amount here today, sir?
Oh, let me see what I got on me right quick.
Well, hang on. What exactly are you raising money for? So here it comes. Brace yourself. In the future, college football players get paid.
What?
College football generates billions of dollars in the future, so kind of had to.
But if you generate billions, why do you need my money?
Because that's billions for corporations, silly. The school's still got to hustle.
Oh, okay, so if I give you my $40, that means I pay for a player that gets to play for the Bulldogs for 4 years?
60-40. 60% chance he stays, 40% chance he hits the portal or his agent/dad blackmails you for more money 2 years later.
But what is this portal you speak of, time traveler?
Ah, yes, the transfer portal. In the future, players can switch teams whenever they want.
No school pride, no school loyalty. A player can play at a different school every year.
Ah, so you've heard of TJ Finley in your time. Right on.
Now who are you?
Oh, I'm him, but from the year 2026. Okay, so quick update. The house settlement has completely fallen apart, and rosters now cost $100 million. So Texas Tech and SMU are really sticking it to us, so quick change of plans, all right? Looks like it's going to be 60 years of compound interest all the way to the championship, so invest away. Okay, will do.
College football sounds like a dark place in the future.
The road gets a little bumpy, I'm not going to lie.
At least Alabama will always have those guaranteed wins against Vanderbilt to count on.
Oh, you know what? I'm not even gonna say anything, because I want you to experience that one fresh.
What secrets do you hold, time traveler?
But is the SEC still around?
Oh yeah, the SEC is going strong. Some might say too strong.
Oh, good. SEC will always be teams like Georgia, Alabama, Auburn.
Missouri?
Now you're really starting to lose me.
Yeah, it's all money driven, which is why we need your $40 now more than ever.
Man, I bet the Auburn coach of the future will be time traveling back here any second to ask me for money for recruiting.
All right, Coach Freeze, let's go.
Here we go now, come on.
Oh, that's out of bounds for
That's
sure.
not what you want. Definitely out of bounds.
You might want to go ahead and hit a provisional. All right, Coach Freeze, let's go.
Here we go now, come on.
Okay.
Okay, Coach, let the big dog eat.
This episode was brought to you by Renaissance Bank, understanding you.
Yeah. Again, thank you, Lion Leadership. They are a great community partner, not just for us, but other organizations like Williamson Inc. and providing coffee through McDonald's here in Williamson County. And thanks to Sherry's husband, Billy, for picking that up. And Sherry was downstairs when I introduced her last month. So Sherry McHale, please stand up. Sherry is our new Operations and Engagement Director. She's been with us a month, and the good news is we made it through July when we had 3 events, and we are very happy to be in August when we just have 1 event, and so that's nice. But we've got a lot going on the rest of the year, but Frank Talks is very important to us. As you know, it's the second Monday of the month at various locations across the community, so it's really important that you sign in. Follow us on social media and other things like that so that you can see when and where those events are. So I wanted to introduce Dr. Jason Golden. We're calling him doctor now because he has his Doctor of Jurisprudence, to come on up and join us and to give us a Williamson County education outlook. Earlier this year, we were at the new Franklin Special District Central Office on Eddy Lane and heard from Dr. Snowden. And now we have the chance to hear from Jason a week in and see how that feels and is going. And here's your clicker. I'm going to take my fan though, but I want to ask him to please tell us his Rose Bowl story before he gets started, please, okay?
So thank you, Mindy, and you all, thank you for being here. So Mindy asked me to first tell Rose Bowl story, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's the result of Franklin High School being invited to the Rose Bowl. And so I do want to promote them. Franklin High School's band has been invited to the Rose Bowl, and I know you all are doing a ton of fundraisers to get that done. Just visualize what it takes to truck all that equipment out, get all the students fly out there, the hotels, et cetera, at a prime time in LA for the Rose Bowl. It's a big, big deal. So, Mindy, my Rose Bowl story is, I was in the band in high school back in the 80s, sometime in the 80s, outside Atlanta, and we actually were invited to the Rose Bowl. And we weren't able to raise enough money, and we weren't able to go. That's I know. Outside of Atlanta, and I remember it, right? It was 45 years ago, and I still remember it. And so I do encourage you, if you can find a way, just a little bit to help those students get out there. That's that lifetime experience that they will never forget. So that's my Rose Bowl story. It's a great event. I can put the mic back. Okay. So there we go. So I of course thank you all for being here. Here at Williamson County, we know the importance of our schools. We regularly hear from members of the Chamber of Commerce how important it is that we succeed, and we take it to heart. We know that we are stewards of the excellent work that so many people have done before us. And I'm actually in my 7th year as superintendent. David Snowden from Franklin Special is the dean of superintendents statewide. Frankly, I don't know how many years he's been superintendent. So, Mindy, thank you for visiting with Franklin Special a month or so ago. They are an excellent partner for Williamson County Schools and the work we're doing. For those of you who don't know, Franklin Special is a K-8 school district within a portion of the city of Franklin. Their zone lines were actually frozen 45 years ago, back in in somewhere around 1980. And their students matriculate up to our schools. They have somewhere, if I'm not mistaken, around 3,200 students in that range, and we have about 42,000 students. So, but we have a great relationship with them. So when I go through this discussion, Carol, I'll let you hit the slides. We're going to really hit a couple of things. One, we're going to spend some time talking on instructional issues, and then I'm going to bring our operational team up. A couple of folks, Vicki Hall, who's our assistant superintendent for human resources, and Brian King, our assistant superintendent for operations. And we'll take a little bit of different tack from what we often do when we have conversations about the schools. But I can't resist talking about our student success. We do have two board members in the audience. Tanya Hibma is there in the back, so Tanya, if you would. And also Donna Clements is here, so thank you both for being here. Donna and I actually saw each other yesterday afternoon. We were doing a ribbon cutting for the new Brentwood Middle rebuild, which Brian may speak to in a little bit. So our vision statement here at Williamson County Schools is that Williamson County Schools will provide a supportive environment where students are challenged to excel in academics, athletics, and the arts. And I often talk about that combination of support and challenge. And it's interesting to me that Williamson Medical Center mentioned in their video the discussion of athletics and the support they have. It's a difficult but very important work to support students and challenge them at the same time. And so that is a focus of ours. So we have some celebrations here because we can't resist. We can't resist celebrating our students' successes. So Carol put on the PowerPoint TCAP scores among the best in the state. We continue to compete for the tops in our TCAP scores. I got to mention one specific detail that's not here. The most recent data we have on student ACT scores is that Williamson County Schools as a whole is more than a full point ahead of the next highest district in the state. More than a full point ahead of the next highest district. Well, thank you. And what we know is when students ultimately reach that point of a ACT score or the National Merit Finalist, those perfect ACT scores, what that does is open doors for them. It gives them opportunities that may not be available maybe anywhere else or at any other time in their lives. And so we take that seriously. But we know that the work starts way before that. The work starts with parents before children even reach us. The work starts in kindergarten with reading, with phonics, and the depth of the work that it takes for students to grow. And I want to give you a little bit of whys. I give you those success points right there that are pretty incredible. Here's some of how we do it. Our teachers spend time together. There's long-time research that indicates that collective teacher efficacy is the most significant mover of student data. And what that means is when teachers as a team believe that they can grow students and spend the time working towards that, that is the most significant impact on student growth. So we have intentionally structured time in our day for teachers to work together. Teacher teams work together. Third grade teachers at particular schools work together. They have common planning time when our schedules allow it, and the vast majority of our schedules allow it. At the high school level, teacher teams are working together. English 1 teams are working together. Those of you who are parents in the district may know that we have late start Mondays at our secondary schools, and we have early release days strategically placed at our elementary schools. And we don't do that for convenience. We do that because it's research-based and it's thoughtful. Those teacher teams get together, and this is not magic, it's just deep professional work. And what the teachers do when they get together is they identify the standards. They determine what do our students need to know. They make sure they understand the depth of those standards and the complexity. And then they ask themselves, how can we determine whether our students know the standards? So they focus on student learning rather than necessarily the teaching. And they do that with very quick, very short little exams, very quick tests to assess whether the students have mastered the standards. And then they ask, well, has that data shown us that they haven't mastered those standards? If so, let's cycle back. Let's spiral back and help those students who have shown us that they haven't mastered those. And then the final question they ask themselves is, if the students have shown that they mastered standards, how can we go deeper? How can we grasp that concept even better? And ultimately, that leads to these results. That is research-based thought. And it makes me smile seeing the teachers do the work. We don't do it just, it's not just working hard, it's working smart. It's finding the time to help those students master those standards in the best way possible. So we often talk about we got to grow that 1%. You can't succeed and say, hey, we've done great and we're going to move on. This year, we are spending time focusing on what about those students, especially who haven't mastered those standards. We're at or near the tops in most every category, but we know that there are some students who still need that extra support. So we're focusing this year with our teachers on students with unique learning needs. We are including additional professional development for teacher techniques, instructional techniques for teachers to help get those students who haven't quite grasped those standards to grow as well. So we have these celebrations, but the reality is we focus on every child. We make sure that every student has that opportunity to grow and learn. And so, Carol, I'm going to pass it to your next slide. Oh, I can't. Oh, yeah. So we're blocking these scholarships. The scholarships number, $110 million, you all, last year in scholarships. And we actually spent some time talking about over the years scholarships offered versus scholarships accepted. So we have both those numbers on our website, but the reality is those scholarships accepted are what really matters. Sometimes the amount offered depends on how many different schools our students apply to. $100 million to the community in savings and for college. Our students this year, 85% of our graduates went to a post-secondary institution. So I mentioned students with unique learning needs. We have students with disabilities who need additional support. We know that we are a magnet for parents who have a student who has special needs. We have those conversations regularly. We put a lot of effort into our special education services and make sure we do it the right way as well. And that's an individualized program for our students with disabilities. So I mentioned our vision statement, that we are focused on support for academics, athletics, and the arts. So I've got to have a slide related to athletics and the arts. Williamson Medical Center mentioned that they provide our training for $0. I got to tell this story. We actually put that out to bid for our athletic trainers, and we got a bid of $0. Wow, that was great. That was when we got that. And actually, I think Nancy Garrett, a former board member, I think you may have been on the board when we got that $0 bid, but that was super for our budget. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for that $0 bid. And it's just an indicator to me of how the community supports everything that we do. So you see those numbers there with the state championships. And actually, Darren Joins is right here. He actually just retired from Williamson County Schools as our district-wide athletics director. So Darren, I'm going to give you a little bit of credit for these successes. That was under your leadership, and we've got our college and career technical education staff here as well, and so we just can't help but brag occasionally for that. I want to mention one other thing before we transition to our operations. Carol, can you flash to the next slide? We're going to hit some human resources questions. I talked about trying to provide that supportive environment that challenges students. We don't just focus on those traditional academics. What we know is that we need to prepare students for what the world's going to look like from an educational standpoint and from an employment standpoint. And we have two really neat things going on. One is our Entrepreneurship and Innovation Center. And Dr. Jeremy Qualls is here. He is our College and Career Technical Education Director. We have that EIC, and many of you have heard of it, where students can initiate their own businesses with a thoughtful plan where we help our students hit every aspect of what it takes to run their own business, from visioning to patents to accounting to HR to competition, the whole scope of what it takes to run a business. And our students go to our entrepreneurship center and start their own businesses. Sometimes they fail at those businesses. It's one of those times where how often do schools say we celebrate when students fail? Our students can start a business, fail, and recognize, you know what, that didn't work. I'm gonna pivot. And I'm gonna take the next step, and I'm gonna make a change to my product or make a change to my service, and I'm gonna find a way to succeed. We're doing that with our students right now. The last 2 years, our students have won national championships that led to like 5-figure scholarship dollars, competing against peers across the country with their businesses. One business 2 years ago was a software company. And that student actually decided he was going to forego college and pursue that software company. Had a little argument with his mom probably about that. But he's incredibly successful. He's a year and a half into a software company. This year we had a student who produced a product, Dr. Qualls. It's something that you can drop in a drink to identify whether the drink has been adulterated. Drop something. You drop a drink onto the slip of paper, and it identifies. Spiky is the name of the product. She won nationally as well. It's a way to protect young women from predatory threats. What we're doing is incredible for those students. The final thing I want to mention related to that is we are in the process of building, if you haven't noticed, just behind or just north of Franklin's campus, a new innovation hub. And the funding is from a grant from the state, but we are introducing more college and career technical education programs that are directly related to needs in the community. Thank you for that. We did some research on job opportunities here so that we can keep our students home. And it includes firefighting in partnership with the City of Franklin. We're initiating a firefighting program that's going to start in 2026. And Jeremy, I'm going to get the technical language wrong on this. Diesel power production, is that close? And machine technology, because we know that energy production has become a need here in Middle Tennessee. We are introducing an aviation program. We're going to have verticality in that aviation program from Franklin Special's middle school students to high school students. And we know MTSU has an aviation program, and we're going to graduate students vertically so that they can serve that industry and still have the opportunity to live here in Williamson County. And there's half a dozen others that I haven't mentioned related to that. So with that, I know you all know that we're excellent. I wanted you to get that little bit of glimpse of what it takes, that teachers aren't just working alone anymore. They're working kind of like your businesses. They're working together as teams to grow our students and focus on that student learning. But to take a little twist, we're going to spend a little bit of time on operations to get you guys a little bit of a business perspective on where we are. So Vicki and Brian, why don't you guys step up, sit down on the seats, and Carol, if I'm not mistaken, I'm going to sit down with them, and you are going to ask us some questions.
Can't wait. I'm good. So excited that I have the microphone and I get to ask the questions now. So Mindy, you let me know when I need to oh, you're over there. Okay. Let me know when I've run out of time, please. Okay. So first of all, we're going to talk operations. And I think to clarify what operations is in Williamson County Schools, that is such a huge umbrella of all the things that happen maybe on the backside that you don't necessarily see out front. So that might be transportation. Those are our bus drivers. That's hiring, making sure that our buses run safely. That is our maintenance, making sure that our facilities are clean and operational. That is human resources with Vicki down there, making sure that all the appropriate people have been hired, processed, and are in our schools and ready to go. So we're gonna start with the people because that, Jason will say often, we are a people business, and we truly are. So Vicki, let's start with you and talk about let's just talk teachers. How many teachers has your department processed and gotten into place as we have started the school year?
So for this summer, we hired about 310 teachers. So we are moving right along. We stay really busy in the summertime.
So, Vicki, if I'm not mistaken, from a numbers perspective, that's maybe about 75% of what we've hired in previous years. Is that so? We were hiring fewer.
We are hiring fewer. We had, I'd say, probably about 3 or 4 years ago, we had hired 400 or so for the year. So we are seeing that number go down a little bit, attributing that to a couple of different things: a little better retention, and then also the slowing of the growth in the district.
So on the retention side, what we so often hear from teachers who come in from other districts, the support here is different compared to where I came from. And I mentioned that time where they're able to spend intentional time together as teams. We also have instructional coaches who work with teachers. We know that nationwide and regionally there's a shortage of teachers, and you guys probably see the stories on that. And what we have found is that often we'll have a teacher come in and what we call job embedded from different careers. And so we add additional supports to them related to that.
We do. So we have coaches, and then we also have mentors as well. And that's some of the continual feedback that we get, is that they really need that additional support. So definitely the first 2 to 3 years, I think most of our teachers get that additional support of those mentors.
I think that's important to break down, because if you've ever lived in the world of education, there are so many terms that don't relate to the outside world. So you hear coach and you think, on the sidelines coach. You have to translate that and put that into perhaps a classroom to understand what that coach is truly doing, and what does a mentor look like? What's the difference between a coach and a mentor, right? So many things. But if we can dive a little bit deeper into that, and I realize it's not necessarily the operational side of things, but that what you have heard, correct me if I'm wrong, Vicki, is the feedback that we get is the professional development opportunities and the professional support that we give our folks. That helps so much in the retention of them staying here. They feel supported. They do feel coached up. They learn from each other, and that's made a huge difference in our district.
And I could give you a little bit of information. So those, the instructional coaches, we drop the instructional and we just call them coaches all the time. But instructional coaches actually are assigned to buildings. There's 2 in the buildings, and they actually do what their title says. They help teachers with how to provide instruction. So they're there to coach them on how to deliver the instruction. The mentors are more of like kind of what that really sounds like. There's somebody that a new teacher can talk to and just say, oh, I've got this, or this student is doing this in my classroom, like helping them with little things that just like challenges to like life-work balance, and then maybe just some specific things in the classroom that they just really want a peer to talk to.
And what we found, especially in across the nation and regionally, is that there's a lot of transition in the teaching profession, usually in year 4 to 5. And if you can maintain a teacher's career past year 5 or so, they're going to stick. And so we've intentionally added those mentors to help them through the process of it. And the instructional coaches we use to help them with those teaching techniques. For example, the teacher might come and say, I taught this lesson and it went so well, but then when the students showed me their work, they didn't get it. And so a coach will come in and say, okay, well, let's watch that lesson. Let me give you some teaching techniques to help that student who didn't show they mastered the standards. So we're using experienced, skilled teachers to help grow that cadre of teachers. And Vicki, give a raw number of how many teachers we actually have in the district.
We have around 3,000. We have a little bit less than that are actually like classroom teachers, probably about 2,800 and about 3,200 when you count all the teacher licensed individuals.
So visualize that. The size and scope of what we do has to be thoughtfully planned, and it has to be structured well. If you're going to grow everyone, if you're going to grow every school, 3,000 teachers, you can't just do it anecdotally. You have to have a plan.
And behind the teachers are other folks who are considered classified employees in that they don't have to have a teaching certification, teaching certificate to work with students in various ways. And Brian, I promise this is where you can come in some areas. So in those roles, we have teacher assistants. We have folks who are in our maintenance department. We have bus drivers. We have all of those different people who work, again, some with directly with students and some really behind the scenes to make sure that our buildings are safe. How many, and ready for learning, really, setting up that learning environment. So talk about how many then classified employees that we have in the district, and then Vicki, if you'll answer that, and then Brian, if you'll talk about where they are in the different departments that you work with.
We have about 2,000, and then we also have 1,000 substitute teachers.
So Brian, talk about food service, talk about bus drivers, talk about maintenance.
Absolutely. So again, I want to second what Mr. Golden said and Carol said. It's about the people. And we have a lot of maintenance workers, bus drivers bus drivers are that don't have direct contact with students, but their job is important. We have 52 buildings, you remember earlier from that question, and the average age, I believe, is like 22, 23 years old is the average age of our buildings. So it takes a lot to keep them running. We have a fantastic maintenance department, a lot of behind the scenes, and our students aren't successful if they're in buildings where the air doesn't work and all those things. So it's important. Same goes with our bus drivers. We're actually, and you hear about this all the time, school districts across the nation, across the state, struggle with bus drivers and keeping enough bus drivers. We're actually not in bad shape. We're treading water, as I like to say. We still need more. We need sub-drivers. We could reduce some of our first and second loads, but we have our routes covered, and so we're doing pretty good. We have a great training staff, do all our own training, all our own testing. And I will say, go to our website on the In Focus and watch the back to school video that our bus drivers did. It is fantastic. Fantastic.
I will say it's a perfect combination of awkwardness and happiness. If you want to watch, the bus drivers, it includes them singing the wheels on the bus.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit.
But related to that, you all may not be aware that we actually project a slight reduction in our student numbers this year. We projected a 0.44 reduction in our total student population. We are growing at the middle and high school level and shrinking just a little bit at the elementary level. And I'm convinced, we've had discussions with some of the business people, it's the cost of housing in the community. What we're finding is people are waiting just a little bit longer to move in, that they can live with an elementary school maybe in another county, but when middle school hits, they want to find a way to get in. And so that's helped with staffing. With our numbers stabilizing, and bus drivers specifically, Brian, one of the questions I asked you last week, because we're now hitting, this is day 6, right? Last week was our first week of school. We had every single bus route covered and 3 substitute drivers. Now what that means is you're gonna have more than 3 sick bus drivers on every day. So we don't quite have enough. That's the detail of what you're talking about. But we still do first and second loads because if we could get more drivers, we would eliminate some of those first and second loads in some of those tighter suburban areas.
Yes, sir. And you think with over 210 drivers or so, you're going to have more than 3 out on a given day. So,
Brian, talk about, though, what we are able to do within our transportation department to prepare folks who may have never driven a bus before, because I think we're fairly unique in that way, in that we have a training program on site.
well, we've actually made some adjustments to that over the past couple of years. We actually have a HR person who's dedicated to working with our transportation team and actually starts at the very beginning with the application process and helps people get their application in, get all their paperwork, help with the interviewing. Once we get past that, we have our own training team that trains the drivers. We have a room there that has laptops set up, and so we do all the training. And then we have our own tester who's been certified by the state, who when they go through the training will do the testing. It has worked really well.
So what we're saying is, if you came here this morning because you were looking for something to do, and you've got nothing to do in midday, but you want to do something in the afternoon, apply for our bus driver position. Mindy, if I'm not mistaken, we have about 10 minutes. Okay.
So, yes, recruitment. We're walking commercials for bus drivers for sure, for sure. Let's talk about food service because everybody wants to talk about having lunch.
What's your favorite subject?
Yes.
Lunch.
Lunch.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
So
we-
talk about our food service staff and how, I mean, those are the folks, that get your babies through the line, right? And make sure they have the right food on the plate. And we love our cafeteria folks, and they do such a fine job.
Absolutely. James Rametti is head of our food service department. He's been with us
A long time.
15 years or so, does a fantastic job. And yes, it's fun to go out and see the interaction between the cafeteria workers and the students. They get to know them, and just to see the smiling faces, probably second to recess, is lunch, especially for the elementary kids.
All right. Did you want to say something?
It's funny that you mentioned recess. So there's actually a new state law that required us to increase recess time. At the elementary level, it requires 40 minutes a day. We actually bumped it up to 45. We looked at our schedule and figured out that we could. I know Tanya Hibma in the back was very involved even at the state level in conversations related to that. So we're making sure that we have that balanced time for students, and that's part of that supportive environment that challenges students as well.
All right, let's talk also about safety and security. Brian, that's under your umbrella. And we have a wonderful safety team. If any of y'all have ever met Michael Fletcher, a fabulous, fabulous, smart guy. And we are so proud to have him. We don't talk publicly about safety because, as Fletch says, we call him Fletch, as Fletch says, why do you want to give the bad guys all your info? So, but we do have new visitor procedures this year. So if any of you have relatives who are children you want to come have lunch with or whatever, we have some different procedures this year. Brian, you want to talk about that?
Sure. It's a visitor management check-in. We've piloted it last year at 3 schools and at central office, and it works really well. So we'll be rolling that out as the school year progresses. And it's really quick. It's an iPad. It'll scan your driver's license and print out you a little name badge. It actually does a really quick background check, and so it works really well. And
It's
we're
not
excited.
in all schools yet.
No, ma'am. It will be.
By the end of the year?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Many of you may have experienced that structure. A lot of corporate offices here in town will have that scan system. It's a quick background check. It's not the in-depth background check that you'll get from a fingerprinting process. We actually have our volunteers who might be one-to-one with students go through the full-blown fingerprinting process that we require of all our employees. But it's a quick check. Some state offices have that as well. When you're coming into the building, it's that next step. I will tell you, Carol, for safety, you touched on this. We know that we will never be finished with our safety plans and our safety programs. We work with the state leaders. The Tennessee Department of Safety has helped as well, and we bounce off what's our next need, because no matter what you do, I feel it. No matter what we do with safety, it will never quite be enough. That we're going to have to keep on growing and always take that next step with safety. This is that next step for this year.
And one safety tool that we implemented, gosh, Jason, I can't remember. It's been years ago. If you want to volunteer in our schools and you want to have direct access with children, say you want to come tutor or read or whatever, you have to have a background check. We have a tiered volunteer system. 1, 2, 3. If you're a tier 3 volunteer, you have to go through a background check just like an employee. Speak to that, Jason, if you would, or Vicki.
Yeah, we've had that in place for 15 plus years, and I know a lot of churches in those last 15 years have been doing something similar for their volunteers. It's just that extra check to make sure that the folks who are spending time with our children have the right intentions.
Okay, so Vicki, this is your time to do a commercial. Where do we have job openings in the district? Because we still have job openings.
Bus drivers.
In the district. Excuse me, Brian, you've had a lot of airtime. We are going back to Vicki now.
Okay. So to humor Brian, of course we have bus driver positions open, and we are able to train you, so you can just come on over. But we will always have openings with our paraprofessionals, our TAs. We have some here and there across the county. We have filled those much better than we have in the past, but we'll still have some openings. We have a few teacher openings that are still available, and we will always have interim teaching positions open. We have teachers that need to go out on a leave for a few months, and we'll be able to post those positions for interim, and that's a great way to just come and work, 2 or 3 months if you want to. So we're always looking for those. And of course, we're always looking for people who are willing to be substitute teachers for us.
And life happens. We have young teachers who are starting their families. So you might have an Algebra 1 teacher who goes on maternity leave, and there's not some Algebra 1 teacher sitting at home waiting for a job. All right. So we do hire interim teachers. I tell you, we recruit a lot of our retirees. As well for those interim times. Our teacher staffing is 99+%. Our special education teacher staffing this year is 97 or so, which is about 4%, 5% better than it has been in previous years.
Yes, it's better.
We're staffed better than we ever have been. And again, we attribute that, part of it is to our stabilizing growth, but part of it is to installing those support systems for our teachers. Now, we don't pay the best. Our per pupil expenditure statewide is hovering right around the 50th percentile. And just visualize that, 148 school districts in the state, our per pupil expenditure is right at the median, and yet we're able to still provide the quality that we have. A lot of that's because of the support we have from parents. Parents actually fund through our PTOs and boosters and band boosters, et cetera, somewhere around $13 to $14 million a year of extra to make things better for our students. That Franklin High example that we talked about earlier is one of those prime examples. And I caught Barb Sturgeon's eye earlier. Barb Sturgeon is one of our county commissioners. She's actually our funding body. The county commission makes funding decisions for the school system. In Tennessee, our board votes in essence on the expenditure side of the budget, and then the county commission has to make decisions on funding it. So we have some verticality relationships there. Carol, Brian touched on this, or we did, maybe it was me. We did a rebuild of Brentwood Middle School. That building was 50 plus years old, and it was showing it, and it was feeling it. The county commission funded a rebuild, and we finished that work. We did something similar at Page High School and Page Middle. We've actually raised the average, or shrunk the average age of our schools by rebuilding some of our older school buildings. Brian, can you speak briefly to that?
Yes, sir. That's a unique challenge to build a school on an existing land that the school's already there. So it was done in phases. Tear down half of Brentwood Middle, build half of it, have portables, and then tear down the rest of it. But it's a very unique challenge. And if anybody's ever been out to Brentwood Middle, it's landlocked. There's not a lot of room to put things. So we were able to finished that. The ribbon cutting was yesterday, had a great time. I don't have a prize, but does anybody here know what the original building was named?
Lots of folks, Northside Junior High.
Junior high that opened in 1972.
That's right. And then next weekend, we are celebrating the rebuild at Page Middle and Page High School. So for those of you who have connection to that, you're more than welcome to attend. And the last slide that I put up, because we're out of time, and so now I get to do a commercial. So as Superintendent Golden spoke about volunteers, we would not be the district that we are without our volunteers. We encourage you, whether you have students in this district or no connection whatsoever to Williamson County Schools, you're a resident here, you are involved and you are important, and we would love for you to be engaged in any way possible. Whether it's just getting our email newsletter, following us on social media, you need to be involved and know what's going on in your school district. So, here are some ways to do that. If you want to scan the QR code, it's going to take you right to our website, and you'll see all the different ways that we communicate. And we believe that being informed will help you be engaged. So we thank you, Mindy, for having us, and thank you all for supporting Williamson County Schools.
Thank you so much, Carol. Do you have any predictions on the first time you're going to sing this year? No predictions on. Carol is the most popular person. Carol and her announcing school closures when the snow or weather hits, and that's very important. So pick up a fan on your way out. Stop by the Franklin High table and learn a little bit more about what's going on there. Mark your calendars for the second Monday in September. We'll be at Carnton. And we'll announce a little bit more about the program at that point before then. And then we're also working on our 12th annual Mayor's Cup Golf Tournament. Thank you, Mayor Ken Moore, who was here earlier, for his support. He and Linda are great supporters of Franklin tomorrow. We'll be at West Haven that day. Our field is full, but we have opportunities for whole sponsorships and other support for that. It's a great day, and we look forward to seeing you at a Franklin Tomorrow event or somewhere else in the community, but please be engaged. Go out and make it a great day. Thank you.